at the high point overlooking the crater. He had his moment of epiphany. That was the moment when he realized he could finally escape his job. He embraced Ikigai. Welcome to the show, Manoj.
Thank you, Prem. Thank you for the lovely introduction, and great to see you after many, many years.
Yeah, same
Hopefully
here, same here.
in person. But
The pleasure is
we
mutual.
go back what 21 years now.
Yeah,
So
99.
99, yeah, fabulous.
99, right? Yeah.
I hope some of our banker friends are on the Zoom call today.
Yeah,
We
Bindu
can have
has
some
been here
banker.
regularly.
Lovely. Is he there? Bindu is there.
As of now, I haven't seen. He should be joining. He said he would be joining. I'd sent out
Great, thank
invites
you.
to your great friend Afaq too.
Okay, and they're all lovely people, and I'm
Yeah.
very happy. And I think you saved the best for last. I think you kept the
Yeah.
finisher there.
Yes,
You
yes,
want
yes.
that guy to finish the series. So yeah, I think I'm adept at that role. But thank you for
Yeah.
this, and I'm really looking forward to. I read your work on the 3 books. I've enjoyed reading it. I wish you the very best and in this new endeavor. I'm sure you're bringing joy and happiness to the world. I mean, that's really what
Yes.
we all need at the moment.
Yeah. I'm endeavoring to do that.
Fantastic.
Since you have renounced your old type of life and embraced the new way of life, we won't dwell into the past.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
Before we start, I would like to know what is the correct way to pronounce this term spelled as Ikigai.
It's Ikigai. It's called Ikigai.
Ikigai. Okay.
Yeah, not Ikigai. It's Ikigai.
Ikigai. Okay.
Yes.
Double EK. Okay. Thanks for that.
Right.
If we are to explain to a layman the concept of Ikigai, what would it be?
Well, it is a proven, tested philosophy from Japan of over 300 years, number one. It's a very process-oriented, simple philosophy that is part of everyday living. So what are the small things that you can do every day and which build up to a lifetime of intrinsic happiness? So Ikigai is more about the core, right? How do you build up your core to face the external challenges? So it's a very holistic philosophy. It involves fitness, it involves gratitude, it involves reconnecting with nature, it involves eating right, meditation, and a lot of things, kindness. So there are 10 principles of it, and it originates from Okinawa in Japan, and that's how they. So just to give you some context, Okinawa is the top blue zone in the world. There are 5 places called the blue zone where people live the longest. And Okinawa is the number 1 in the world. The maximum number of people, over 100, come from Okinawa. And these are all people who are following their Ikigai. And Ikigai can be manifold. It's not one, and it can keep evolving. So when at 16, I'm in college, I may have some passion. At 25, when I'm in a work environment, I may have another passion. At 40, I may have another. At 60, I may have another. So just to give you some context on the philosophy.
Okay, that was nice. So how does it help a person in his or her day-to-day life?
I think it is embracing a 360 degrees health program. And by health, I mean mental, physical, spiritual, all of it. I mean, you can be the fittest person physically in the world, but mentally you're not strong. It's not going to take you anywhere, especially in the corporate world, right, Prem, that you and me have worked in. You could be spiritually very, very strong, but lack in the other. So Ikigai is really about how do you balance or how do you build harmony across the 3. So mental, spiritual, and physical. How do you build all of that? And like I said, there are the 10 principles, and how do you inculcate that in your daily life to become personally and professionally more proficient, happier? If you are a happier person, Prem, it will show at work, it will show in your personal relationships and everywhere you go, correct? So that's really what it is. And if you see Japanese as a race, they are very peace loving, they're innovative, they're resilient. And now today's COVID times has the two biggest words are resilience and purpose, correct? So how do you build that? And this essentially inherently helps you build purpose, resilience, passion, and ikigai is basically your reason of being. What do you wake up for, Prem? So you wake up for in the morning probably to make the world a better place. Example, right? You want to write, you want to do leadership seminars. So it is what is ikigai for everyone is unique. Everyone has a purpose, and that, I mean, the purpose of life is to find that, right? Otherwise, what's the point living 60, 70, 80 years and being without passion? A passionless life is no life at all. So that's probably what I would say to you.
That's beautifully explained, Manoj, and I'm sure this will resonate with a lot of people who are on this show. Now that you mentioned that a purpose of life, can you relate some example or stories as to how ikigai helped you or someone in your proximity?
Okay, so if you're game with that, maybe I could call a dear friend of mine who's also a mentor and a highly decorated military officer, and maybe, you know, we could make an impromptu call for him to him, and I could push the question to him. I mean, why not?
Please
right?
do that. Please do
if
that.
you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let me call
I'd love to meet this gentleman.
Yeah, and I will also give you a brief introduction. He's a highly celebrated officer. He's going to be caught completely out of the blue. Let me see now. I think it's time for his evening walk. He lives in Delhi. They've recently relocated to Delhi. His wife is a senior diplomat. So I'm going to ask him if he can join the call. Sir, how are you? Good evening. How are you? How's your walk going? Acha, Suno, do you have 2 minutes? I'm actually on a chat show with a dear friend of mine, and he's asking me about the ikigai philosophy, and there's a particular question, and I thought I should bring you on that show and pose that question to you. Are you open to that challenge? It's not a rapid fire, it's just a simple question. You can hang on for 5-6 minutes and answer. Okay, so I'm pushing you the coordinates. It's on Zoom, so you'll come live on Zoom, and Prem is the person who's taking the interview, and he's also an author. So I'm sending you the thing, and we will hold on for you to log in. In the meanwhile, I will do an introduction to you, and then we'll pose a question to you. I believe you're outdoors, so if the network is not too good, just let me know on text, okay? I'm sending you the coordinates now. Bye. Yeah, so Prem.
Yeah.
I will send him the login details. So Anil, Major Anil Kumar, but I call him Anil, is a highly decorated officer. He's a Shaurya Chakra awardee. So in the history, 80 years of India's history, there are only 2,000 plus Shaurya Chakra winners. And if you know the movie Uri, I'm sure Jaya, have you watched the movie Uri?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so there's a Northeast operation at the start of the movie, if you remember, where the terrorist camp is busted. Right? So actually that scene, that operation is picturized on the operation Major Anil led, and he won the Shaurya Chakra at the hands of the President of India. So that's his background. And then after 10-11 years, he took early retirement because his wife is a senior diplomat, and they've lived all around the world. He works with a hedge fund, international hedge fund, and his wife currently has been reposted back to India, and she looks after 35 countries in South America and the Calypso Islands. He's a father to 2 lovely daughters. He plays tennis, and that's his passion. And I believe, you know, his motto is stay happy, stay foolish, stay curious. So a little bit of context to him. Prem, has he been able to log in?
I just got a login from some iPhone.
Yeah, that could be him because I think he's outdoors.
Yeah, that's
Anil.
me. That's me. Hey.
So are you coming on video?
Yeah, I am on video.
Let me put him
Okay,
on
so
spotlight.
Prem. Yeah, let's. Oh, Anil, how are you? Good evening, sir. How's the Josh?
Josh is always high.
Hi.
Josh is always high.
All our
Josh is always high.
Prem and Jaya. I don't know if you're able to see them.
Hello.
Unfortunately, I can only see my pretty face. That's all.
Okay, cool. So
That's
that
okay, at
looks
least
good.
you're audible.
That's part of your 10,000 steps, right?
Yes, that's part of my 10,000 ikigai move every day.
Yeah, okay. You must be tired of seeing my face, so I'm not going to say anything. Prem would like to say hello. He's a celebrated author, a ex-banker, a very senior banker, and he and me go a long way, 21 years. We played cricket and we worked for the same bank together. And Jaya is also part of a leadership company. And, so Prem, over to you. That's Major Anil.
Major
Hi,
Anil,
Prem. Hi, Jay.
Hello. It's nice having you on the show. Someone as celebrated as you. Manoj, thank you for getting Major Anil on the show.
Most welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Manoj, for this.
Yeah, sorry, Jaya.
I'm just saying thank you for this opportunity. Yeah.
So as we say, arigato.
Yeah. Manoj has just given us an introduction of Ikigai. And then we just would like to have an example of stories or a story of how Ikigai helped you or someone in your proximity.
I think Major Anil could, he practices a philosophy, so I think he has the best anecdotes.
Yeah, means there are n number of stories like that. I had when I was working in Singapore post my military life, I had 3 Japanese colleagues. So especially the head trader, he was a Japanese, and he used to follow the principles of Ikigai, and it really helped him because trading is a very stressful kind of an environment because markets are moving all around, and especially working for a hedge fund, you could have a day when you are down like 5-7% in a Wi-Fi. So I still remember the day when markets S&P crashed 10%. It was a big drop down, and when you are a trader, you kind of sitting and looking at the screen all the time, and if you're not really into calmness, if you're not really in place, things can go very bad. So this friend of mine, Narita-san, he was a proponent of Ikigai, and probably he was the first guy from whom I really learned about Ikigai. And his passion was trading. He loved numbers, and he was basically getting up in the morning and every day morning charged up, trying to get out there and live his Ikigai. And he was a very successful man. He managed a decent amount of money, and he still does, but he still follows the Ikigai, and very simple things that he used to follow. Get up in the morning, be with the nature, exercise, eat rightly. So these are the principles of Ikigai that he mentioned to me, and I felt that this was something that made him successful, and this was something that a person like me who comes from a very ancient culture where we have yoga, and a person like me who come from a very regimented background could benefit from Ikigai. And even then, that was a time when I also started following some of the principles that he used to mention. Things like, as you can see, I'm doing my 10,000 steps. Is part of my Ikigai routine. I do it every single day for the last 7 years. So I've been averaging 10,000 steps every single day for last 7-8 years.
I think Anil, you should also mention to Prem that we would walk in 50 degrees in Oman.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not very far off even now, because in Delhi today is the present day, but when it gets humid, on ground temperatures is about 45 in the evenings. But if you follow your passion, which is Ikigai, if you follow your purpose, which Ikigai makes you do, that's something that it just gets ingrained into you in your every single day life. I think that's the example that I would like to share.
Thank you. Thanks for the great share.
Prem, any other question, Prem, for him?
Yeah, it's a great share. And when the stock market crashes 10%, you need to have a stomach to really absorb that. And I know something like this is required if you have to keep a calm head.
Oh yeah. And in fact, most of the big traders on the Wall Street, even if they are involved into, it's a very common phenomenon on Wall Street. People do meditate. They are in the now, they are in the present because they have to be very alert. So many of the big names that we read about making billions of dollars every year, they are very heavily into what I would say living their ikigai.
Anil, आपका favorite quote?
My favorite quote on the being in the now.
Being in the now and that history, future, past,
Oh yeah,
present,
yeah. You know, that was taught in the army. You know, don't dwell on the past because past is history, future is mystery. All you have is now, and now is pretty beautiful. You know, yeah. If you can see me, I am in a good surrounding, so it's beautiful. Enjoy the beauty of being in the now, which is follow your ikigai.
Thank you, Prem. Anything else? And we'll let
thank you,
Major Anil
thanks for your
continue
time.
his walk.
Thanks for your time.
Arigato, Anil-san. Arigato.
Arigato. Ciao.
Ciao. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, so I thought that was a good guest appearance.
Yeah, guest appearance. And you
Yeah,
talked
indeed.
sense too, and which really resonates with everyone. The calmness and the serenity with which he was speaking does really shows a lot of things.
Absolutely. I mean,
Now, Manoj,
he's trained for that. Yes.
yeah. Manoj, now tell us how is it that we can navigate the minefield of the COVID-19 pandemic? An army man has gone. Now I'm throwing this minefield at you.
Okay, so I mean, I would really say one of my favorite shows is now living more with less. Now, you know, I'll say that again. You got to learn to live more with less, and that's what the world is moving to. It's not going to be the same what we were experienced in our lifetime. Way we will interact with people, the way we will probably, you know, I mean, simple thing. I mean, the last 3-4 months, people have been indoors. What did you need? Probably you needed a few set of clothes, right? At the end of the day. And you needed 3 square meals and you needed a little bit of laughter, right?
True.
And what have we been doing in the 30, 20, 40, 50, 60 years prior to 2020? We've been chasing the wrong goals, the wrong aspirations. We're chasing money. Money doesn't make you happy. A certain amount of money is good enough. Beyond that, and you know, from my studies all over the world, what are the core things, Prem? Family, fitness, the quality of your relationships with friends, work circle, how you eat, right? What do you do for fitness? What do you do for meditation? That's all that matters. I mean, the richest people are not happy. You know it. I mean, there are research reports from Harvard Business School, from Japan, which show why people with ikigai live longer. Ikigai is basically healthy and happy living. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So now there were also research studies which showed that when people won the $1 million jackpot in US, after 1 year, they were less happier than before winning it, right? So these are proper research reports. Now, so how can we be better? I think we have to learn. This is the only time we will ever get in a lifetime to reset.
Okay.
This is the only time we will have to reskill ourselves. Look, the jobs that we did in the past may become redundant, and probably most of them are facing a situation where the jobs will become redundant, salaries will get cut, new jobs will come, new skills will be required. And if we are not resilient and if we don't learn from 2020, then we never will. We never will. So I think we must put the focus back on gratitude. We must put the focus back on compassion. We must put the focus back on minimalistic living and cutting down greed. We must put the focus back on reconnecting with nature, walking, cycling. They cost nothing, right? I mean, I went to Bhutan last year to study the gross national happiness concept over there, and walking, spending time with their family, laughing with them, sitting outside their apartment or their house or whatever you want to call, meditating together. These things, Prem, cost nothing, and I'm sure you know it too.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I would say, and that's what I do. And you know, when we teach teach the concept and we do workshops with corporates or schools. And this is what we really talk about, that first we assess which zone of happiness you are in. And then we also rank, well, the participants will rank what they feel good about and what they feel low about. And we've done research over 10,000 participants across the globe. And the results are all the same, Prem, this year. I mean, they're all the same. They all want to work on their fitness. They all want to be happier. They all want to reconnect with their loved ones. Because, as you know, work-life balance has suffered immensely. As India aspires to become a $5 trillion economy, we are regressing in terms of values, right?
Yeah, true.
We don't know our neighbors. 10 feet away, we don't know our neighbors. Right? And look at the way, it's a sad state. We go to a barista, we go to a coffee shop. We don't even look at the barista who makes with his or her craft that beautiful cup of coffee which powers your day, right, Prem?
True.
But we don't look and we don't even acknowledge them. We look at our phone and we're probably doing something not in the moment, right? Because so these are enough examples. So I mean, I think more we learn to become stronger from within, and the more we embrace the right values, we are going to come out of this crisis stronger. If we have not developed a side hustle, if we've not reconnected better with ourselves at the end of 2020, then we've done ourselves and humanity a disservice.
That's beautifully put. Manoj. And there are some myths floating around Ikigai. Can you throw some light on it?
Okay, sure. So first, Ikigai comes from Japan. It doesn't come from some other country. Number two, Ikigai can be manifold. It can be multiples. Me, my Ikigai is my son, is my fitness, is my dog, and for you, like can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, there's some background noise coming. Okay, so Ikigai can be manifold. Ikigai can be different with different time zones of your life. It is not related to money, career, etc. It is much broader than it. It is related to a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. It's related to strengthening the small little things every day of your life to become a better person. So I think these are some of the common myths that people poll in, and like I said, we have the results from across the globe. So these are the questions they go all wrong in.
Okay. So can a person have multiple Ikigais?
Absolutely. So when a child is 10, his passion is different. When a student becomes 16 or 18 or a teenager plus, the passions change. When they go to college, when they go to a work environment, the passions change. When they're 30, the passions change. So it keeps changing. The Ikigai keeps changing. But the whole premise is that you must work on it to discover it and nurture it every day of your life. That's what I would say.
That's nice. Acha, Manoj, tell me, you're planning to write a book. Can you please give us a peek or a preview on its contents?
So the book would be more a memoir kind of thing, my life journey in integrating the concept of Ikigai, the 10 principles of Ikigai. So each principle essentially becomes a chapter. So parenting, friendship, nature, kindness, gratitude. So there are different ways, and so it'll be a very dynamic ebook format, and then obviously the hard copy. And the dynamic ebook, you will also have videos, pictures. You'll have self-assessments as a reader, where you will be able to derive your purpose quotient, your Ikigai quotient, and then there'll be worksheets, self-introspection worksheets for you to download and start your own journey of discovering your Ikigai framework. So and that's how I would say.
So that when you say it's a workbook, you will be leaving gaps for people to write down their comments on how they progress in life. Is that it?
Yes. So at the end of each chapter, there would be some actionable for a reader, where they would take some online links, they would download something, and at the end of the book, when they would have probably completed their own Ikigai framework. So today, Prem, if I were to ask you, let's ask you, what's your ikigai if I were to ask you that?
One is fitness, continued fitness.
Good.
Yeah. And second, a relationship, ensure that the family is together.
Correct. And what is that? So ikigai again is 4 questions. What are you good at? What do you love? What does the world need? And what can you be monetized, right? So these are the 4. So what
Okay.
you're good at, what you love. So if I were to ask you, what do you think the world needs, which you can do and which you can get monetary compensation on? So this becomes a complete ikigai framework, and that's an exercise by itself. So there would be worksheets on it, how to answer, how to bring it all together. So at the end of it, you'll see, okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's going to give you clarity. So it's a very process-oriented framework. So it will become part of a dynamic ebook, and then the hard copy will come out a little later. But I believe it's a very pertinent topic at the moment.
Yeah, it is.
Purpose, resilience, happiness, whichever way you want to cut it.
So when is the book scheduled to come out? The ebook?
So yeah, it's work in progress. Well, I think October has a big global mental health summit. So I think sometime to time with it.
That would be nice.
That's
I think the first chapter you sent to me,
yes,
I read that was very, very engaging. So I'm sure the rest of the 9 chapters that you're talking about will also be very good, and the book will become a bestseller.
Let's hope. I mean, if it, our motto or my motto is to make the world a better place, one soul at a time. So if it touched you, I'm happy. If it touches someone else, the joy will, what you sow is what you reap, right?
Yeah, it will definitely touch a lot of hearts. So I was not planning to ask you anything from your past, but then since both of us have been cricketers, and then we have Bindu Madhav Tikekar also on.
Is he there? Is he there?
He's there. I just saw him. So I thought I would ask you one cricket question.
Okay, sure. Bindu, how are you? Such a pleasure to hear your voice.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you in person soon, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Hopefully, sure.
In your palace. You remember the palace?
Oh, done, sir, done.
Thank you for attending this, and I believe you've been attending every day. So thank you for your constant encouragement to Prem and his team.
Pleasure.
Yeah. So what's your question? Don't ask me something between me and Bindu. Okay, that will become very controversial. You and me. As much as we love each other, we have a axe to grind.
Yeah.
That's too mean, Manoj.
Yeah.
Bindu, look behind. Can you see all those trophies? Some of it is associated to you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. But thank you for all those wonderful years at the bank.
Pleasure mine.
It's about that International Premier League winning experience that you had, I believe, in 2017, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. So yes. So this was in Oman. So they have the Oman Premier League where international cricketers come, and Ranji Trophy cricketers, from India and international cricketers across the world come. So, and as you know, fitness, cricket, etc., is a key part of my life. So I said, we've played a lot of cricket together. There's one thing missing, being a first class. So, and I said, okay, why don't we give this a shot? So I tested myself out at Nets, the selection process for the team. And, we got selected. So the average ages of the team was 25 and I was 43, Prem. So you can imagine the spectrum that I was against. But it was great. We won the 50 overs international championships. I played with a couple of international cricketers from Pakistan. If you know Zulkarnain Haider, the wicketkeeper, he was in my team. Ranji Trophy cricketers, some cricketers from South Africa and Sri Lanka. So it was an amazing experience. So we played over 3 months the league. So a T20 league and a T50 league. And we won the 50 overs championships. Obviously, I didn't get to play all the games because, they're a well-set team, but they gave me an opportunity to play, I think, 4 or 5 out of 10 games. I got a decent number of wickets and, some runs, and we won. And I think it was a great experience to say, hey, passion can be at any age, Prem. I think really that's my message, that what is 43? It's just a number. If you're passionate and you're fit, you could play cricket even at whatever age, right? I mean,
Yeah.
there are people who played Kanga League at 80 or 78. Bindu would probably know these people
Yeah.
personally, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about passion. And I want to give you a story about a celebrated chef in Japan where Barack Obama went in 2015, Abe, and his restaurant is a Michelin restaurant. He's 95, Prem. He wakes up every morning at 4 and he goes to the fish market in Tokyo and he picks up the produce for the day. And his son is touching 65 and he says, Dad, why don't you retire? And he says, I mean, what do you mean? If I retire, what do? I will lose all my purpose in life. So it's just an example of ikigai, passion. So, I just wanted to bring that to you.
Good, good. Thanks. Nice for reliving that experience of the cricket thing, because you had sent us photograph, which I remember.
Right.
Yeah.
That was something. That was good old days. I mean, we had, I think even at HDFC Bank, Bindu, you, all of us, we had probably the best couple of years in
Yes.
corporate cricket in
Yes.
Bombay, for sure, right? Our team
Yes.
was probably the best, right? I mean, non-professional team.
We were the
Non-professional
most. We were amongst the most feared teams in corporate cricket at that time.
Yeah, non-professionals, because we had a job. We had a
Mm.
8 to 8 or whatever kind of job, longer hours. Some people like you put in,
8 to 12.
but yeah, whatever, right? I mean, but but I think playing cricket together it's also part of ikigai, right?
Yeah,
If you
it
look
was.
back at it,
It was a great
right?
stress buster.
It gave us joy. It
Yeah.
brought people together. It's connected us for life. I'm sure no matter where we are, whichever part of the world,
True.
we will still meet and we will talk about those days very fondly. I mean, other than Afaq, I don't know if Afaq is on the call right now.
I can't see him.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
Manoj,
thank
thanks
you.
for your time. Now, we have still some time left. Can we throw the forum open for questions from the other participants?
Please, I mean, that's the best, right? So making it interactive is the best thing.
Jaya, if you have any chat comments or any questions from the audience, you can take it up, please.
There are
And if
already
Bindu wants to ask me
questions.
a question, I would love to take it.
Before that, we do have questions from some other people.
Sure.
There was a lot of positivity going on in the chat also, and good evening and everything. Brenda has asked this question. She asks, how does Ikigai relate to social interactions and interpersonal skills?
Okay, so one of the key principles of Ikigai is Moe, which is in Japan, a small group of friends which help you like family. So what they do is every month, this set of friends will contribute some money together, and they check on each other physically, mentally, and financially. So that's the social interaction. So similar thing in an India context, can we develop a set of friends who are as close to us as family? And that's important, right? Because if you see, a lot of people don't work in the city where they grew up in, right? So they would feel alienated in a town or a city where there is no family. And especially in these times of lockdown, who do you reach out to? I mean, there are very sad news, coming out every day almost of, people killing themselves. And why does that happen? Because they don't have a set of friends they can fall back on, right? What does it need? It needs one phone call to reverse that wrong decision. If somebody makes that phone call and talks and say, hey, everything is going to be okay, that crazy decision in someone's head would get reversed. So it's about how you reach out, how you develop that beautiful network of friends without any set agenda. I think that's really important, because if you bring agenda to the table, then the equations change. And interpersonal relationships, of course, I mean, as I said, if you are happy from within, you'll be a great boss, you'll be a great colleague, you'll be a great husband, father, wife, daughter, whatever you want to call it, a great friend. But if you're not happy from within, it's evident. Happy employees produce well. Happy friends make for great relationship, great conversations. Happy parents, happy siblings. So, Ikigai is really about leading a healthy, happy life. That's the science. It's the art and science. That's what I would say. So, just to add also, some of the key principles is how do you build in gratitude, kindness. So if you start doing all of that, your interpersonal skills will be fabulous. People would want to be around you most of the times, right? That's how the way I look at, and that's the way I lead, try to lead my life.
So nice to
Manny, can I
hear
ask you
this.
one question?
Oh,
Yes,
we
who's
have
that?
Sanjay today.
Yeah. Manny, question is on interpersonal skills.
Okay.
Okay, because as you said, the person should be happy from inside. So my
Yes.
happiness is in abundance. You know, I'm very happy person. Interpersonal
Brilliant.
skills are good.
Brilliant.
But the challenge is because of my this attitude, my interpersonal skill with my wife, and she feels, you know, it is not right every time like this. So how do we build that interpersonal skill? The
No,
challenge is
what
much
that?
bigger because you know what happened. I am happy, but
Yeah.
because of that happiness, I'm so happy. She's unhappy. She said, "Why you are always happy?"
You know what? This is one of the toughest questions humanity faces, right? Relationships,
Yeah.
correct? So I think, just to come back on a serious note, can you
Yeah,
bring
please, man.
her, on the table and make a part of your ikigai journey? I think that's really when she will understand and appreciate what you do. Why you so happy? Why you so intrinsically jovial, etc., etc. Then that may reduce her angst, right? Because if I'm a very serious person and my partner is on the other side of the spectrum, there will be friction for sure, right? So you have to probably try to introduce the things that make you happy to her and try to build her on that journey. Yeah, of course, it's not easy, but if you bring her as part of your dreams and aspirations, I'm sure she will love you a lot more for it rather than she being in isolation. And that's what I would say.
Done, Manny. Because normally I have not seen friction. I have seen only action. That's why.
Can I ask one question, Jaya?
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So,
Sanjay,
yeah, one
uh,
question, Manny, is how do we actually find the optimal balance between what you're good at and what the world needs? Because there might be something where you're really good at something, but the world doesn't need something, or where the world really needs something and where you're not good at and what you love. And so, what is the optimal mix among all the four, and how would you ideally find the optimal I
Okay.
can say a combination of this so to get the perfect ikigai. I may
Um,
have a mix of my question is how I really get that optimal mix of all the
so
four
yeah, so if you
confluences. Yeah,
know, I'm sure you've heard of Kaizen, right? The
yeah, yeah,
continuous improvement, right?
yeah.
So what you're good at, you would know for sure, and then
Yes,
you become proficient as time passes, right? I
yeah.
mean, at 10, at 20, 30, 40, 50, right? So you keep becoming proficient, and that's the tenet that you're continuously improving at what you're good at. What you love is, I mean, um, the curiosity of a 7-year-old, or what did you love when you were a child, when you were 12, 13, as a teenager? What did you love? And you know, if you can keep connected to that, and keep becoming more proficient at what you love. Example, you may have loved painting at 10, or you may have wanted to become a tennis player. So keep becoming proficient. So, or teaching, there are different examples, and we've done this workshop for many, many people. And what the world needs essentially is the positive side, right? So because somebody get through a stupid, one example about the world probably needs marijuana, right? So, but it's not the right example because it's not a positive thing. So what the world needs always has to be something positive. And then finally, you must be paid for it. So it's a mix of passion, mission, vocation, and profession. So, and it is a continuous process of working on this model. So it is not something that you do today and you get clarity saying, okay, yeah, I've hit the bullseye. So ikigai is right in the center. But you keep doing these 10 things, you keep doing work, and you keep researching, and it keeps developing. And over a period of time, you'll come to your sweet spot, the optimal mix. You will know when you're at a sweet spot. And that's really called being in the flow. So if you are at doing something and then work no longer becomes work, it becomes your passion. So if you're doing something, you probably lost a sense of time. So you're sitting at 10 and you realize it's 2 o'clock, and that's called finding the flow. So those are the moments when you realize you're in the zone and you are really enjoying what you're doing. And hopefully it's adding value to the world. So as a banker, Premraj in his previous avatar did things which add value to the world. People could loans to build a house, example, or people could take working facilities to set up their own SME businesses. And Premraj was very good at it, and certain things he loved doing in it, and of course he was getting paid. So in that context, he was doing it then, and now he's moved from being a banker to being a leadership coach, etc., etc. And hopefully he's very close to living that optimal mix. I mean, I can't answer on behalf of Prem, but I'm just giving you that example. I mean, you will know when you are reaching that optimal mix.
Thanks,
no one
thanks.
else can do that.
So
No one do that. There's no model to develop.
Just one clarity. So should I start, or should one start with what one loves or what one is good at? So I would ideally, from what I understand, start with what what I love. Then as I keep on doing that, what I love, I'll be obviously good at it. And then since I'm good at it, maybe yes, this is what the world will maybe pay me.
So I'm
and
going to show you. Right. So if you see that, what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what can be paid for, and passion, mission, vocation, profession, and the sweet spot is Ikigai. So you can start with what you love or what you're good at. Both is something that will come very easily to you instead of someone else doing that model for you.
Yes.
Manny, just wanted to add, actually our friend Abhijit is an epitome of success because he is married to a divorced, lawyer. Now, today's world, if you have to interview, you got my answer, right? He's the most successful, optimal balance. He's totally balanced. You understood, no? He's surpassed everything.
Absolutely. So hats off. I mean, I think the most difficult job in the world is being a husband or a wife. I mean, I'm a guy, so I would say that. And just to add some humor onto it, I think being a male is at times pretty a thankless job, right?
Oh my God.
I mean, just adding some humor to it, because when you are small, you're living the dreams of your teachers, your parents, your siblings. When you become, you're living the dreams of your boss, and then your partner, your wife comes in, then your children come in, then you're, I think a man really has no time to himself, to be honest. Even at 60, then he's doing some other job, right? So it's just adding some humor, but Abhijit, I mean, we can have an offline chat, and you can give us some tips.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi, Bindu Madhav. Can I come in, Manoj, if you permit?
Oh, yes, sir. How's it, Josh?
Josh is always the great. Yeah, that's the point of life, no? Without that, nothing works.
You're looking very handsome with your 25 years at HDFC Bank, I must say. Did you go to Europe and do a Botox and plastic surgery or some job?
Thank you. One quick one, Manoj,
always.
coming back to the real topic. I have seen you as an aggressive banker. I have seen you in a sales force as a credit card product in charge. I have seen you on the ground playing football or playing cricket, and you've been always an aggressive person and a successful banker. Even today, what you are doing is a success. When you move from all this to this, what you are doing now, Ikigai, which is a different life than what you have been as a professional. And relationship and the making relationship stronger is always your, strong point, I would say. But as being a person of an Ikigai guy, if you want to turn back to a sports person or a banker professional or any professional, forget banker, how that you find a change in you from that aggression to this kind of a life now? Would you be the same if you go back to the ground or to a banking professional where you want to sell in today's digital world, and how you can relate to this, what you are new learning to back your own, young days when you are still young, sorry, but that how do you match those
not
two
that young anymore. Okay.
How do you patch up the two different things?
You're asking me to spin a ball on a flat wicket. It's very tough, but I'll give you an answer.
I know you have been a pacer, but sometimes the bowler also has to be confused, right?
Right. So I think I will ask you a question. Was it aggression or was it passion? I'm going to ask you that.
You were passionately having an aggression to win everything what you do. And that is what
Okay.
can be linked back to your Ikigai thing, that you do what you like. I know that,
Right.
but I'm just looking at it. Will this, the new thing which come in your life, will change
Yeah.
your, because passion and aggression again is a different thing.
Hmm. No. So,
Aggression is, I want this. I want to win this match. I want to get him out. I want to save this goal. I want to kick a goal. From that to this, just purely looking at a life with maintaining relationship, I want to do what I like, which is not a winning game, right? When you want to do what you like, it's not winning. It's winning
right.
within.
Right. No, so I mean, like, it's a great question. If I were to go back 20 years and restart my career, I think using the philosophy of Ikigai, I would probably bring more balance to my life and more balance to colleagues around me. I would say, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a little more Zenish outlook to the aggression that you and me were part of in our playing days together. I think, more harmony. I would say I'm more in harmony with myself, to be honest.
Okay.
That's
As a
how
as
I
a
would say.
human, to add to this, as a human, when we relate to this Ikigai thing, would as an individual, would a new person entering to that would change life towards what? To a self satisfaction, or to look at the world dispassionately differently? How it would help to a human being who is gone in a troubled life?
Yes.
So what kind of
Uh,
benefit he would look at from this journey if he wants to start a new one?
from Ikigai as a philosophy or
Yeah,
my
yeah,
journey? What's the question?
Ikigai as a philosophy.
Yeah, I think Ikigai helps you, number one, strengthen your core. Number two, chase your passion, or zone in on your passion, find your flow. So it is not about retiring at 60, Bindu, because if you retire at 60, then you lose your purpose, right? You say, what do I do? So
Right.
you keep developing it, and till you're 80 or till you're 100. And then it also helps in bring balance. So it helps you declutter from your life, right? You don't need to hoard so many things, right? It's about living more with less, and that's what they do. They're not hoarding things. They're not they give a lot back to society. So gratitude and compassion is a key element of Japanese system. And if you've been to Japan, you see how courteous they are, how they take joy in even a small activity like cleaning the bullet train in less than 7 minutes. And that's a part of international case study. And you would see it, they do it with such joy, and they bow down and say, please welcome to the train, Konishawa. So that's really what it is. So it is seeking joy in what you do and being less interested or less perturbed about what is happening in the neighborhood. Really,
Oh,
I think
yeah.
Bindu is worth X, someone is worth 2X, but why should that make Bindu half X happy? Bindu can be 2X happy.
Right.
So that's really the philosophy of Ikigai and how it's been helping the Japanese race. And over the last few years, it's taken global markets by storm. And it's published in some 60 different languages. And in India, it's published in Telugu, Marathi. So it is a beautiful philosophy, as most things in Japan. It's very beautiful and doable. It's really doable.
Yeah. Right.
That's what I would say. And there's too much stress, right, Bindu? You know it. You're a banker. You see young people, you see millennials. They're not focusing on family. They're not focusing on health, and their quality of work output is lower. You know it. As a very senior banker, you see it.
Yes.
And why is it? Because they don't have a sense of purpose. That is the core. If they had a sense of purpose, they would do very well. They'll come to work happy. They'll eat well. They'll not smoke, drink, etc., etc., because that ultimately is impacting their health.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. I think nicely put, and knowing particularly your journey for last 20 years, I think it's a dramatic change, I would say, but still you are the same, and nice to see that. to maintain the relationship is your always a strong point. Good luck to you, man. Keep doing
Thank
well
you.
and stay in touch. God bless.
100%.
Thank you for that, Binduji, for asking. Thank you, Manoj. We have yet some people still asking questions.
Sure,
Let's
sure.
take them.
Hopefully,
Arvind
no
says,
relationship questions.
Arvind
That's
says,
a tough one.
Paul, how Ikigai helps one in attaining tranquility in severe challenges. Tranquility.
Oh, I think you're right.
Arvind is asking.
So, Arvind, I think the main thing is like they do in Okinawa or in Japan, they practice meditation, and that could be Tai Chi. So can you inculcate 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes mindfulness meditation every day to your life? And when you start doing it, you'll see over 60 days, 90 days, dramatic changes. You'll see dramatic changes. Tranquility will come, serenity will come. But if you are not at peace with yourself, and if you're not doing some kind of meditation, it becomes very, very tough. Life is tough, as Gautam Buddha said so. But if you meditate, I think, and they do it, and they do it very successfully. I've been doing it, and I find my day incomplete if I don't do that 30 minutes of meditation. So, and there are various forms of meditation. There's no one particular type which suits everyone, right? So you have to find what suits you. And I would say 30 minutes, 15 minutes, start with 15 minutes and then progress it to 30. You will see a beautiful change with them. And I can tell you with great assurance, that's the only way you can do it.
Hope that answers you,
By
Arvind.
being more mindful.
Please,
Prem,
Suresh, go
I'll
ahead.
ask one question. Thank you, Manoj. Hi, it was very, very wonderful session from you, whatever you shared, Ikigai. I'm
Most
saying
welcome.
that the message comes is that we say that don't worry, be happy. That's a
Correct.
simple
Hakuna
thing.
Matata. Right.
Yeah, Hakuna Matata. But many people like Sadhguru and all that today, they talk about that when we said past is history, tomorrow is a mystery. That's what your friend shared very nicely. But he says that live for the present moment.
Correct.
Now the question is that when we are living for the present moment, I'm talking typically in today's scenario. I don't know how many thoughts come to your mind, whether everything will be all right. And present scenario, you say you live for the present moment. I mean,
Right.
how far you agree with this from your perspective?
Oh yeah, completely. I mean, so the philosophy, the word in Japan is ichigo ichie, right? So I mean, I wish I have that book. I do have the book. Yeah, so I'll show you that. So it is about completely living in the moment, embracing. If you see it,
Yeah,
embracing the imperfection of every moment. That's called wabi-sabi. So you have to train your mind to live in the moment, because the minute you start worrying about tomorrow, you are putting unnecessary pressure physically and mentally, and it will show. You will crack as a human being. You will crack if you keep worrying about what's going to happen in the future. So how can you give your 24 hours the best, right? How do you make every moment good for you, productive for you, joyful for you? If you're not doing it, then the days got wasted, right? And you will say, wow, I really didn't achieve anything today, personally or professionally. So living in the moment is absolutely critical, and it is one of the 10 tenets of Ikigai, and it is something that I try my best to practice. So I'm probably living 90% in the moment. 10% is still a journey. So I hope my answer has given you some context.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man.
Thanks for that, Manoj. Thank you for asking that question. We have Kajal. She said, "Arigato." Thanks, Manny. That was a pleasant surprise. She said it when your friend just left.
Oh, lovely.
Ashutosh says, wow, great conversation. Ram is saying, Manoj, is there a book on Ikigai that you would recommend? I think you just showed it in the beginning.
Yeah, so Ashutosh, why don't you hold on for 2 months? I'll have my own book ready for you. So this is a philosophy book. So what, like Prem asked me, and he was pretty cheeky. He shouldn't have let out that secret, but that's fine. He's Prem, and we go back a long way. So the book would be about how can you integrate philosophy into daily life, and that's really what I feel can add value. And we've been discussing it with the publishers and research groups, saying how do you integrate the 10 principles of Ikigai into daily living, right? That's really what it is, because you can have multiple books on philosophy, but how do you integrate that into your daily living? So Ashutosh, this is the book, and if you hold on, you'll probably get your complimentary copy soon.
Okay, thank you for that. One of our members, Yogita Kale, says, "Hi Jaya, I have a question as well, if time permits. How to keep certain feelings like fear of non-satisfying your customers, which causes immense stress, or any other fear for that matter, that hinders your happiness at bay?"
So the question is, how do you face the prospect of not satisfying the customer completely? Is that the question?
Or not being, the customer not being completely satisfied.
Is she online? Is she online?
Yes, she is.
Okay, so can I talk to her? Like, I want to understand what she means.
Yogita, can you unmute? Okay, I'm not able to see her.
Oh, so the okay, is she there on the call or not? Not there.
Though, but or maybe
okay,
we can
so
take.
I mean, so just to give you, like, and I'm sure Prem can understand, and people who worked in corporate lives. I'm talking from banking perspective because I worked for a long time in the bank. So my personal experience, Prem, has been that when I've tried beyond my best to win a customer or to satisfy a customer, a lot of the times they've moved to competition. I don't know if it happened to you, but I bent over backwards and I tried to do everything possible to satisfy the customer needs. They didn't appreciate, and then they go to competition. Ultimately, they will come back because you keep a good relationship, but it's very tough to satisfy all the customers all the time. Prem, I'm sure you have similar experiences. It is very, very tough. It is all a journey, small things. I mean, there is no customer who will give a 10 on 10 on a banking product. There's always a problem, or that the interest rate was high, or X or Y, or the TAT was. As long as you can keep most of your customers in a good space, you're doing a great job. There will always be a few customers who will give you hell, for sure. No matter how well you treat them, there will always be those difficult customers. So don't get worried. 20% who bring you the joys. There are 10-20%, no matter what you do, will always say you're a poor banker, and that's life. There's no one who gets 100% score, for sure.
Right.
So I don't know
let's
if that
move. I hope that answers her question. Let's move to what Payal is saying. She says, if I am in love with my Ikigai and happy, then how others in our life whose Ikigai is affected? How Ikigai plays the role in relationships? Others' Ikigai is disturbed because of our Ikigai. Thank you. Wishing you great success. God bless.
Okay. So Ikigai intrinsically is about doing good to the world, right? So if you're following your Ikigai and you love it, it essentially means it's bringing joy and passion to others as well. So if you're doing something which is not bringing joy to someone else, now from a relationship point of view, it's very easy. If I'm doing something 24/7, which is really helping a lot of other people, but probably ignoring my immediate partner, then I can understand the grouse, right? So I don't know the context if it's the same for the question, but essentially, if you love your Ikigai and if you're doing good, it should be benefiting everyone, and everyone around you, being your friends, family, your colleagues, should be happy with what you're doing. And there will always be people who are jealous of your success, right? In a corporate world, I mean, it's a cutthroat world. So if you are becoming CEO, if you're hitting promotions year after year, there'll always be a set of people who are not happy with what you do. So let's not focus on that. I would say that.
Right. I hope that answers you, Payal. Thank you for the question. Thank you, Manoj, for answering that. We have Sanjay Salvi who says, thank you, very good conversation, and it is equally benefited in our day-to-day life for life problems to tackle with. Thank you, Sanjay. Ranjan says, okay. Ranjan says, thanks Manny for inspiring talk on Ikigai, and now Ikigai will be what people will look for to reorganize their life. I have to leave for another meeting. So I think he's left.
Okay, cool.
Then we have Arvind. He says, super conversation. Many thanks to Manoj and Premraj sir. Ansi says, insightful. Lata Subraidu says, can a physical act like walking be meditation?
Yes.
Absolutely. Even an act of eating can be Zenish, and they actually practice that. So if you're having your miso, the ramen soup, you actually are in a state of meditation. You feel every bite, you feel everything. So mindfulness can be in eating, mindfulness can be in walking, mindfulness can be in writing, cooking. I mean, it's really what gives you the joy. So physical exercise, physical walking can also be like meditation for sure, because you are cut off from everyone else. Probably you're in your zone and you're listening to some nice music, and that's your beautiful time of the day.
Right. So
Lata says, you put me at peace. Okay, Lata, anytime. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Ashalata is also saying, wonderful session and thanks for the bonus guest. Brenda is saying, I have a question, Jaya, if time permits. Yeah, let's take a last question, I think, before we wind
I'm
up.
happy to take 1-2 questions. I have a meeting at 8:15, so I'm happy to take 1-2 questions.
One is what we can accommodate then.
Okay, lovely.
Yeah. Hi, Manny. I'm more workplace related because I have been in corporate for 42 years, and this has been much in my mind. I've worked 42 years, loving jumping, dancing each and every day. Every Monday was the best day. Every day I came back from a vacation was the best day when I went back. But today, helping others to get empowered to the workplace, particularly students, the dilemma facing me is very, very real, and this is it. Because when I first started working, there was no idea of Ikigai in India. But later, people came to think about in the early 80s or late 80s that you need to do the job you love. So Ikigai became very much a part of the workplace. And today, in the last couple of years, even before COVID, people had come to realize that you can't always land the job you love, as Simon Sinek says. You can't always land your dream job, and that is very much so today, because even all the research studies which are even happening right now show that people are having to take whatever jobs they in fact get, and passion has been put in the refrigerator. So when students ask me, what about this? Normally I just say, sometimes you may not get the boss you like or the job you like, but you can still get that Ikigai by doing the job. By the way, you may not love the job you do, but you may love the way you do it, and then you can really actually make it your Ikigai. I have not found any other way in which to tell students particularly, or even others, as to how you can find even in today's situation, how you can find, definitely positively find the job which is your Ikigai.
You're a teacher, Brenda.
I'm not.
What do you do?
It's difficult to say, but currently I have just done my master's diploma in training last year, but I've been working in the corporate, actually helping basically the CEOs and in HUL for 32 years. So I've had a fair, varied experience, and HUL, it's been like that. But today, actually, to answer this question to students, and particularly students from the underserved sections of society whom I'm trying to empower to employment, it's very difficult when they ask me this question. And I've done a lot of research on this, and I see that things have actually changed in people's minds. And, there are many people who say that if you do if you excel at the way you do your job, you can actually find your Ikigai. Do you think that could be valid?
Yes. So, I mean, I'm with you. There is no perfect job in the world. Number one. What you bring to the table makes it perfect and joyful. You cannot select your colleagues. You cannot select your team members. You cannot select your line manager. Okay. But by bringing joy or from within and translating it into your workplace, you will excel and you will bring others as part of it, and you will start loving your job, because there is no perfect job, right? I mean, I'm sure Roger Federer plays tennis, but he has to practice probably 8-10 hours a day for 10,000 hours before he picked up his first tournament. And that must have been torture, right? That must have been torture. I'm sure it's not, there is, I mean, and I agree with you, there is no perfect job. You can bring to the table in terms of your hard work, in terms of your passion, your commitment, that will always take you building the trust factor. That could take you, like, and you mentioned Simon Sinek, and one of his beautiful videos is about who do you select as your top guy? The guy who brings everyone along, not the guy who sells the maximum. The guy who we can trust that he's going to put the team together and succeed. So that's really what it is. It is not the guy who scored the highest marks in school, or the guy who sold the best in a year who becomes the best line manager. It's never that way. It's never that way. Even in a sporting environment, the guy who scores the maximum runs, like Sachin Tendulkar, never became a successful captain. Someone else became. So I would answer it that way. It's the passion, the commitment, the integrity, what you bring to the table will take you places. From whether you, I mean, and you mentioned something, people working in your underprivileged society, you're trying to get them jobs, right? So, I mean, Prem and me have got a lot of people we recruited from the Chols in Bombay. And I think Prem, they're probably VPs and whatnot now. And I know because they're in touch with me, and they're probably earning 30, 40, 50 CTC kind of thing, right?
Yes, yes. Lot
and
many.
That's such a, that whole story, Prem, you, me, Bindu have been part of.
Yes.
And you know, HDFC Bank is not the most perfect place to work in, for sure, right? High pressure, high stress, long working hours, absolutely, you know. So, but yet they have thrived. And I'm sure proud of the people who are part of your team who are doing so well in life now.
Thank you.
Thanks for that question, Brenda. Thank you, Manoj. It was nice hearing your views about it. So Lata has also added to, when she said, thank you, Manny, you put me at peace. She says, thanks, it's been a great session, very informative and great experience. A.S. Patil says, hi, good evening. Thanks, Premraj, for arranging very nice informative session from day one. So yes, as we come to the end of this series, yes, it's going to be like we are going to miss this 7 o'clock thing. When is 7 o'clock going to come? And especially when we have, had this last day of Ikigai, and it's going to leave us with a lot of thoughts and with a lot of newness in our higher thinking pattern, so that we also understand what is it that we are doing. And I'll tell you, I love what I'm doing. But when I'm not in love with what I'm doing, I try to love what is it that is coming to me. So both ways it works. Being in love is important, whether it is with already what I love or whether it is what is coming my way. And if I try to fall in love with it, it has worked for me. So thank you so much, Manoj, today for coming in and sharing this beautiful concept with us. I had heard about it. I do have the Ikigai book also. I'll be starting to read it soon. But listening to you was, yes, a real, this like hands-on kind of experience. So thank you for that. Thank you, Premraj, for bringing Manoj and the additional, X+1 that we had today. Thank you for that. And thank you for all the 6-day series, beautifully conducted, beautiful speakers, lovely experience, and all the people who kept joining us from day one till now, and, so supportive, asking questions and all the expressions that we had. Really, from the bottom of my heart, I'm thankful to each one for joining this. Power Up is so proud to be doing this series. You have no idea, because our entire mission is to come together, grow together, encourage each other, collaborate, generate business, talk about business, brainstorm, and that is exactly what is happening here. So thank you so much, each one of you, till we meet again, and we will announce the part 2 of this series very soon. Manoj, please stay in touch. We would love to keep hearing from you about this topic off and on. Thank you, Premraj, once again. And
let me finish up, Jaya. Just 2 minutes for me, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, friend.
Thanks, Jaya. It was a pleasure conducting this show. And all those people who have supported us 6 days in a row, thank you very much. It would not have happened. It would not have been successful had you all not supported us. A big thank you to all of you all.
Well done.
Manoj, thanks for sharing the new you and the possibilities it offers to all of us of being happy, contented, and being at peace with oneself.
Thank you.
We wish you good health, mental peace, and overall well-being as you blaze a new trail for yourself and your followers. God bless. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Prem. See you. Ciao. Good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Till we meet again. Bye-bye.